like to apologize for any audio errors in this recording. Please be advised that Aries tend to mess up electronics, and therefore the audio in this video is very messed up. And keep an eye out for our app coming soon. Hi, I'm Madeline Marie, and I'm here to deliver the big 144, starting with Aries Sun, Aries Moon, and we'll cover all 12 rising signs at the end of this video. So enjoy. If you ever want a live chat reading with me, or make an appointment for a phone consultation or full birth chart interpretation, you can find me at rotation411.com. I'm available almost 24 hours a day to chat, and I also have several different appointments you can select from, and I'm building up the store for candles and incense and different tools that I recommend in your spirituality. I also do tarot readings. So anyways, let's get to Aries. Aries. Alright, well, they are, Aries is the baby of the zodiac. It's the first, let's go over the sun sign a little bit first. It's the first sign in the zodiac, and it is a baby. It's a big baby, and depending on what other balances you have there, Aries could be the sweetest little baby, or the baby that throws a tantrum, which they all might do at some point. Babies know what they want. They know they want to be fed. It's almost like a second house kind of thing, but it's the first house. It's all about the baby, it's all about them. But at the same time, they're very pioneering. They come in this world without a clue where to start, and they're going to explore. And if you tell them that they can't stick, the fork in the light socket, they're going to see why not, and they're going to go ahead and burn their hand several times. So that age-old wisdom where they're like, oh, do as I say, not as I do, learn from other people's mistakes. That's not an Aries. Aries are the people whose mistakes you're learning from. Some very prominent Aries are Walt Worthy, the founder of, no, not Walt Worthy, that's the founder of the Davenport. Oh, is it Walt Worthy? The guy who founded, Sam Walton, the guy who founded, Walmart, Hugh Hefner, very entrepreneurial with his nudie magazine. So those are some male Aries figures that come to mind, that they were just very entrepreneurial, huge pioneers. So now we go on to the moon. Well, what is the moon? The moon is your emotional state. It's how you are in the home. It's shifting. The moon's always changing every 2 to 3 days. It's changing completely throughout the month. It goes from waning and waxing, and the energy levels change, and like Cancer. Think Cancer can be very not shifty, but changing tides. So now you put Aries in that placement, and so what's an Aries moon like in general? Well, Aries moons are, I feel like they're almost a little more, I don't want to say grounded, because this is a fire sign. Maybe they have more, if you think about a fire, so you have a big fire burning out of control. It has a lot of wood in it, right? But then you have another fire that it's almost like it has too much wood in it, so the fire's kind of burning slowly. It's not like, it's almost like weighed down by the wood, the moon is water, but I'm saying, like, it's almost like weighed down, like it's like not growing. It's kind of like a fireplace. It's more simmering there, and shifting around. So that's how I more think of the moon. And so it's almost like this fire underneath, and it's got the same drive as an Aries, and it's got the same self, Aries aren't necessarily self-centered, depending on the other placements in the chart, but it's like that self-driven focus, if the other aspects and transits allow. And so it almost works better in a way as the moon, because it's a driving force. And with the sun, it can be a little bit, it could be like they can burn themselves a lot. But with the moon, it can be more subdued, so it could be controlled. Like right now, I'm going to we'll talk about that more later with the other signs, because with Aries Sun, Aries Moon, it's not under control at all, okay? These people are fireballs. They want what they want when they want it. They're big babies. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but they're most likely to be criminals. And not because they're, calculating or cunning, but because they're very easily irritated. They are always on a mission for something, and they might just not have the patience to actually grow or evolve and kind of take that cultivating time. So Aries is it's debatably the most powerful sign in the zodiac. Some people say Scorpio. We can get into that debate later, probably when we do Aries Sun Scorpio, Scorpio with Aries Sun. Here we have if they're not criminals, they're going to be major entrepreneurs. They're unstoppable, and they could find the right partner to balance them out, but relationships are not going to be easy for Aries Sun, Aries Moon. They're going to, first of all, they're highly intelligent. So they're going to attract very intelligent partners, and these partners, though, are sort of going to be argumentative and a little easily agitated as well. So it's sort of like attracts like in that way, and it doesn't work. What would more work for these people is sort of like probably a maternal figure, like a Cancer dominant person who could sort of soothe the fire, because they're just not getting any of that here. And if you bring in like an authority figure, or like a too maternal, like a nagging type of figure, this person's going to say, you can't tell me what to do, just like in Aries, but times 10. You know what I mean? So basically, you're going to want to, if you have Aries Sun, Aries Moon, and you're somehow managing to get through life without wrecking a car every other week and ending up in jail, and you're able to, really channel that energy, then you want to look for relationships that are soothing for you. I know it's more stimulating for you to get involved in more tense relationships, and they might even be very productive relationships, and you might be a very productive person, because Aries are very productive. They're all about production, getting stuff done. So if you just want to look for balance, if you have this, and you could do a lot of amazing things in life when you put your mind to it. And okay, so I may come back and do part 2s after I go through. I may have other thoughts, but this one, it's pretty solidified the way it is. So let's go through and let's just see how rising signs might balance or exacerbate this Aries Sun, Aries Moon placement. So if you have if you're triple Aries, I've seen triple, like Sagittarius, Leo, Aries people before, and they're fireballs, but that can be managed because you have fixed, cardinal, and mutable going on. So you've got different not elements, but different modalities. Well, here you're always in one mode, and that is straight up cardinal. You're starting things, you have a hard time finishing them. You're going. You'd be great at traveling or something, because you're just going to be constantly going. You need some type of job where it's new every day, new, clean slate. You could be an actor. It takes a little bit of study to be an actor, so you might not have the patience for that. Maybe improv could be good for a triple Aries. Something just fresh, new every day. If you are going to be married, you might be sort of like Hugh Hefner. I don't know what his rising is, but you might need several partners. Maybe polygamy would be good for you. Or you're going to need someone like real Libra-y or Piscean to like keep you really just entertained. You're going to like to be entertained. You're going to need that stimulation, and new novelty will be huge. You're not going to be someone who keeps old clothes in the closet. Now let's go to Taurus Rising. Taurus Rising might slow Aries Sun, Aries Moon down a little bit. So you, at least to other people and out in the world, you might seem a little more patient. You might seem a little laid back. And once they get to know you, they're going to be like, whoa, slow down. I thought you were thought you were a little more methodical than you are. You're probably going to gravitate towards nice things and the consumption of them. So with like the Aries rising, it's more about new things. With the Taurus rising, it's going to be about you want nice things and you want them now, and you're gonna do whatever it takes to get them. So Taurus, Gemini, the Gemini rising, this could be a little bit difficult with people because, you know, your Ascendant is sort of how your mask that you wear to the world and how you come off, and Geminis are very charming and everything, and they're discerning, so you could get some discernment there. Where the Libra rising, which we'll get to, could make you indecisive, which can be a huge mess. You could have some discernment with the Gemini rising, and it could cause you to be. It's a mutable sign, so you might take a little more time deciding what you want, but you're also going to be very active. Gemini is very active, so you're going to be constantly going still, but it might be a little bit more of a, you might be more of a talker, or might be more of a mental kind of going, where like the Aries rising, you're going to be action, and Taurus, you're going to be a little slower, slightly more methodical. Gemini, you're going to be constantly, you might be great at generating new ideas, so you might be great working for a marketing company where you're just, oh, well, what's a new idea? Let's make what commercial would people want? You know, and you have that discernment to decide. And in love, you're probably going to you're probably going to fall for at least 2 people at a time. I don't know how that's going to play out. Now, Cancer rising, this could be great, like I said, like having that Cancer influence, because it gives you the moon back a little bit, and you're able to be more empathetic with people and sensitive, and it's cardinal too, so you're still going to be moving forward, but you might be a little more focused on relationships, or you might have a little bit easier time in the world with relationships, so it won't necessarily always be about you. You might actually be driven towards helping other people, and it just, when you invite them into your house, they're not going to realize what a party animal you are, so you might want to keep work and your, you know, friendships separate from that placement. So, one moment before I start with Leo rising, I have to apologize about the audio. I forgot to plug the microphone in. So, the last few, the audio was a little sketchy, and I want to apologize. I could go back and reshoot it, but I really think there was some good information in there, and I do everything spontaneously because I'm an Aries, so I think that I will leave it that way for now. Anyways, yes, I'm so sorry. So now for Leo rising, because you know you got to get everything right for Leo. Leo rising with a double Aries, this is going to be almost, you know, what are those called? There's the deacons, the dicons. They're the 3 areas of each sign. So for Aries, it would be the end of March, the first week of April, and then like the second week of April. And all those areas are very different as well. But we're not talking about the sun signs so much today, so I won't go into that too much. But what I will say about it is that, well, okay, I guess I'll touch on it very quickly. And the first decan of Aries is kind of just more hardworking, your average Joe type of person. They're not super, I mean, they're ambitious, but they're, you know, real practical, pragmatic about getting things done. Almost how an Aries moon can be with certain different sun signs, which we'll cover in the next 11 videos. So the second, I keep saying it wrong, but you know, the first week of April Aries, they are they're in the big birthday book, they're called the star. So they are the ones that are flashy and need all the attention, and they don't really need it necessarily. They're very social and they're very beautiful and they like beautiful things. And they probably, Marlon Brando's considered one of the greatest actors alive. He's in this category. I'm in LA, there's a lot of traffic noise. He's in this category of Aries. So I wouldn't say that Marlon Brando so much would be a Leo rising double Aries comparison, but it's just that week of Aries, because the third week is much more of an analytical week. They're all about brains and they're very intelligent. The second week is a little bit more about looks and attention, and they're the star, and they kind of just get attention easily, and they don't really care to have it so much as a Leo would, but they get it, and they expect it, and they have it. It's not like they're trying for it, and Leos don't really try for attention. They just kind of expect it. So I would say that a Leo rising with a double Aries is going to come off much like second week in Aries. The first week of April Aries do, like April, maybe not first so much, because they kind of have like, it's like a cusp thing. They kind of have that everyday balance, but they like nice things. So I would say, the first through like the 9th Aries, that's what a Leo rising with a double Aries is going to be more like. They just they want to look good. They always look good. They're well put together. They like good looking things. They are they're basically, they're not really still like a Leo, not quite J-Lo, not that perfectionist. But on the surface is important. Kind of like Taurus, liking the luxury, but a little bit more about vanity than, not quite as much about vanity. Well, Libra rising, we're getting there. Leo, yeah, they're just going to be well dressed all the time. Any Leo rising probably is going to be well dressed all the time, and they're probably going to be a lot more arrogant. They could almost be worse than a triple Aries, as far as, I said triple Aries can often end up in jail and stuff. Well, if a double Aries with a Leo rising ends up that way, they are going to be the ringleader, and the only person that they hopefully won't run into is an actual Leo, because an actual Leo would probably be very threatened by this combination, or they're going to be like the head mobsters of an organization or something. But these are so probably pretty powerful, like top dogs in an organization. If you think elitist or any kind of like fashion or Hollywood type upper echelon almost. Maybe not so much famous to the world, depending on like the midheaven, but very well revered and respected within the community, and usually a higher elite community, and a very well dressed community, with very nice things. Okay, so moving on, we have the Virgo rising. Now, Virgo rising double Aries, they might actually be sort of more like that first decon of Aries, where they're going to be more down to earth and very hard workers. So this is one of the actual rising signs where all that Aries energy could be channeled into being a very hard worker, just working day in and day out for what they want. Thus to be very goal driven, and they might end up being very enterprising, but it's not going to show. They're going to be the one who's always on time to work. They show up to work every day. They never take a sick day. They keep their head down, and they just have this like bubbling force underneath, just driving them forward. And maybe one day they own their own company or make it to the top, and you're like, wow, you were so like humble and meek and mild. I didn't see you coming. But the people at home knew about their ambitions. So this is someone that you would probably want to have as an employee, and somebody who's going to be able to channel that sun, moon, Aries energy very well into like practical matters. Or it's who you want to clean your house, because they're going to get it done fast, and they're going to get it done well, and they're going to be very clear and organized and compartmentalized about everything. So all right, and so Libra rising is always a very attractive, good-looking person, very symmetrical, and they will balance out, not quite in the same way as Cancer. They'd probably be a little bit of a chatterbox too, like Gemini rising would, but they're going to balance out a little bit of that Aries energy, because it's the opposite. It's complementary. Libra is also in itself all about balance. So the Libra rising is with double Aries is, they also have a little bit of a hard time deciding things. So this might be a place where the double Aries does take a little more time to grow, because they're still going to know what they want, but they're not as certain all the time. And so they're willing, and since the Ascendant or the Rising is in the environment. When they're out in the world, they're looking around, they're surveying the options, and it's going to take them a little more time to decide. So once they decide, they're going to be, on it like an Aries, but they're going to probably take a little more time than any of the other combinations of this 12 for Aries Sun, Aries Moon, to evaluate what they want and then go after it. And they're going to have a little more grace about it, where they might, Libra's not really manipulative, but they might just be able to kind of charm their way through. And Cancer could do that too. We had talked about Cancer already. But Cancer would be more focused on the relationships, where Libra would just be sort of like, hello, I'm here, I want this or that, and I'm just going to go ahead and go over here and take it. Oh, but I don't really know, so go ahead and tell me about it. So I'm a good listener too, so now I've gained your trust. So they're not going to seem as self-driven as some of the other combinations. Now we're going to go into the Scorpio Rising, Aries Sun, Aries Moon, and this is a very powerful person because, first of all, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars, and Aries is solely ruled by Mars, and all of that action in the Aries, or that we see in the triple Aries, is going to play out here. But Scorpio, especially in the Rising, and I'm talking about for every sign in combination, Scorpio Rising is sexy, 8th house, mysterious. So this might be a more manipulative placement, where this person, depending to like what house things are falling in, because if it's like the 12th house or the 8th house, any of these strong dominant sign planets or Ascendant are in the 8th house, the 12th house. These people, it's not going to be like the Leo Rising where it's sort of like for status. These people are powerful. Like, this might be more of the Hugh Hefner type. You remember how we talked about, the Leo was sort of like that second decan Aries. This is, and I should have looked them up, but this is more, not Hugh Hefner with the plumie we'd mentioned, but like this is someone who is just going to be very enterprising, very secretive, able to very calculate the Aries moves. So when Aries is underneath with all that fire, like we've talked about with the other rising signs, the Scorpio Rising is going to be able to not only contain that and be even more mysterious and smoldering than Scorpio Rising already is, but they are going to be able to keep their mouth shut, which is not easy for a lot of the rising signs with double Aries. And the only reason double Aries does keep their mouth shut, because Aries doesn't necessarily talk as much as people think, except for with other, signs coming into play, like Libra, more chatty signs. So with this sign, they're going to be able to keep things to themselves, and they're going to be working under the surface, and they're really, where Virgo is able to channel that energy into work, Scorpio is going to be able to like transform that energy, where it's like, I'm going to say that these people rule the world. I'm sure there's a few combinations like that, but these are people that are on top, and they're very powerful. And it's not even that they're revered like the Leo Rising, or it's about status. This is just pure power. And these are the kind of people too, where sort of like if you had Pluto in the second house, these people might be a millionaire, lose everything, and get everything back and be more powerful than before. This just is a very powerful combination. So and also this might be one of the more loyal double Aries, Aries Sun, Aries Moon combinations too. So they might play the field for a long time and have a lot of, sexual relationships. Yeah, it's going to be very physically active with Mars and all three. Just like the triple Aries, it's going to be a very physical, very sexually active person. And they might play the field for a while, but they could end up in a very intense, committed bond, more so than other other ones. Depends on the rest of the placements as well. Okay, so on to Sagittarius rising. Now this one could be one of, I want to say one of the most difficult, because I mean Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so there's some luck there. But this person, almost as much as the triple Aries, they're going to be jumping into things and not thinking ahead, and having the mutable sign in the rising. They're in the world, and kind of how Libra doesn't really decide things, and that helps this Aries, double Aries, to grow. Sagittarius is almost going to be like when Aries decides on something, that Sagittarius is going to help them charge through. This person's probably going to be travel the world, but it really is going to be hard for them to get much done because of the mutable aspect of Sagittarius. They're constantly going to be like changing their mind about everything. And, oh, you know, I think I'll go to Europe. I think I'll go to Australia. And they'll do it. They'll go, but it's not going to last very long. They're not going to stay in one place very long, ever. And this person their goal in life might be to get as many stamps on the passport as they can. And when they're out traveling, they will make a lot of friends. And I mean, Aries can be very popular. I guess I haven't given them enough credit for that. It depends on other placements. But they are definitely, most of the time, going to be traveling alone. And if they are traveling with someone, it's probably going to be someone who's a Aries or a Sagittarius, which is fine, you know, but it's going to be someone it's somebody who can keep up with them. And same with a mate. Like they will be fine going their whole life alone unless you can keep up with them, or maybe you're a marriage sign like Capricorn and Cancer, and you can settle them down, and you have some Sagittarius in your chart to go along with them. But yeah, they would be fine being single their whole life, or they are going to just they might have a trail of affairs, but I don't think as much as the triple Aries or the Scorpio rising Aries. But they're just going to be going, and not like the action triple Aries where it's constant action, movement, projects, things. And what was the other one we mentioned where it's more of a mental thing with Gemini rising? This is going to be just, nope, stamps on the passport. We got to go. I got to see the world. I got to go. Higher education. They might have, 10 master's degrees, but then they can't decide where to work because they don't know where they want to live. All right. Anyways, so on to Capricorn rising. Now, Capricorn rising, this Aries is going to probably come off as the most pretentious, even more than the Leo rising. And I'm not saying Capricorns are pretentious, but in the rising placement, it could seem that way. So these ones, they might they might isolate themselves, even where the Virgo one would do it with work. Capricorn rising, they might isolate themselves because they're going to have to be powerful, and it might take them, as a Capricorn, with Saturn ruling Capricorn, a while to get to the top. It might take them until the second half of their life to really accomplish much, or to inherit their kingdom. So they might, it would be difficult to have this person as a sibling. And they, as Aries, are more likely, Aries are not always single children. There's actually fewer Aries than other signs in the zodiac. Like there are tons of Tauruses and Cancers. There aren't that many Aries. Statistically, I don't know all the numbers, but I know I've read this, and I've accumulated this in my own data. And so a Capricorn Aries, this person is going to be very reserved, very focused on their own goals, and until they have some kind of power in life, unless they're granted that early, they are only going to work with subordinates. Like if you're not working for them, you are working against them. They are here to work and not to make friends. They're very goal oriented. They will accomplish everything. It will take them a while, and there will be some tension because of that. And and sort of back to the Aries thing, like, well, with the Capricorn, if you're not working for me, you're working against me. But with the Aries thing, it's going to be like, if you're not working with me, get out of my way, So that's very prominent here. Very goal-oriented person. And and sort of that Scorpio, not mystery so much, because this is going to come off more pretentious. So it's not going to be as alluring as the Scorpio rising, but you're going to see that there's something simmering under the surface that you can't quite access. All right, so let's get on to be a mate with this person. They may be able to, with the Capricorn rising, to have relationships, but you better be on board with what they are focused on, their Aries side of them, because Capricorn's making it happen, and this is another very productive combination. There is no working against the goals. A Libra person or someone with a lot of Libra is going to agitate them by dillying and dallying too much, Okay, so now we're on to Aquarius and then Pisces, and then we'll wrap it up here. All right, Aquarius. Aquarius and Aries are just a beautiful, especially like in, not so even synastry, like compatibility, friendship. Aquarius and Aries is just like, it's like a wild duo, but an easy duo, especially for Aries, who don't always have patience with everyone, and Aquarius, who's kind of off in their own world. They can really ground each other, even though they're not grounded characters at all. They might have some grounded moons, but we're talking about Aries moon here. So Aquarius moon, this could be a great artist. This person could be a great musician, and they're going to be in their room practicing all day long, and when it's time to come out on stage, they are going to shine. They are born to entertain, and they are willing to put in the hours into the creative endeavor. This is no starving artist. This person has a great capacity to be a great artist. They could even be great collaborators. They're able to work on their own things, and then they're able to go back and put it all together. I'm going to say, musicians come from the second house, which would kind of go back to Taurus and Venus, but I just feel like this Aquarius person, if they're not a great fine artist, or they're going to be a great collaborative artist, because they've already kind of got this great collaboration within themselves that they're able to bring to the table. And they have, I feel like, just for some reason, maybe it's my clairvoyance I'm tapping into, I feel like there's a affinity for music here. I don't know quite where I'm grabbing that from, but I just do. And the other thing is that if they don't have it in their rise, or if they don't have it, it's not music, then it could be writing. But it's not necessarily that they're writers, because that would be more of a Virgo. Right, and Virgo rising double Aries could actually be a pretty great writer, because they're able to focus and do that mundane, repetitive tasks, and take all that Aries energy. So I'll just add that. But this person, when they start writing, it's going to be, they've got so much energy. If they can focus on writing, their ideas are going to be so innovative and pioneering. It'll be things that no one ever thought of before. It'll just be a great contribution to the world. I would actually like to look that up. I can just feel that. So let's get to Pisces now. To be with an Aquarius double Aries, I think that it could be hard. You probably want to have a lot of air in your chart. You got to feed that fire in the Aries, keep them going, keep them amped up, and be able to just really relate and connect with the Aquarius. I think that a Libra or Gemini would be pretty good for a double Aries. In other double Aries, air signs as a mate could exacerbate the fire too much, but here I feel like it could actually be grounding, even though it's air, So, okay, on to the last one, which is Pisces rising, double Aries. And this kind of could have a similar quality to Libra rising in that it can, or even Cancer, where it can balance out the double Aries a little bit. So those are going to be the more, Cancer rising, Libra rising, Pisces rising, even Aquarius a little bit. They're going to be the more chill, relaxed versions of double Aries, okay? But Pisces is also very intuitive, and it can also be a sort of addiction. So a double Aries, this person with a Pisces rising could possibly have some addictions, but they would be more like social addictions. So they might have a hard time focusing on their goals because they're too focused on social interactions. This could be the type of person who gets caught, I mean, we all do this, but gets caught up, scrolling, getting really deep into the internet, not able to focus on reality. Also, though, like Aquarius rising could be very imaginative, and if it can be channeled properly with all that Aries underneath, could be very groundbreaking. But also, this is someone who could almost, not that, because there's not a lot of the Pisces underneath unless it's in their chart, so depending on that, this is someone who can maybe convince the masses of new ideas. Because you kind of have with Pisces and Aries is the baby, it's the beginning, and Pisces is completion, it's death, it's full circle. Scorpio is death too, but so this person might, as long as they don't get too distracted and off in their imaginary world, or their social interactions, this person in the social interaction, in the social side of Pisces, could help Aries too. And not as so much in the way of having good relationships like Cancer, but in really being progressive. We talked about some of them being very productive. This could be a very progressive placement. This is, you have groundbreaking, pioneering ideas that have a lot of power and passion behind them with your Aries sun and your Aries moon. And the Pisces rising is able to come across as wise and otherworldly and an old soul, and able to translate this socially very, very nicely. And so this could be not like so much power like Scorpio rising, but this is someone for like the history books. This is someone who you look back 50 years and they were doing something, and it could be social advocacy too. It could even have to do with helping drug addicts, because this isn't in their chart maybe deeper. They're able to relate to these people and make changes. So this is someone who might have been able to come up with like a 12-step program and implement it to the masses. I would have to look up, I know that guy's name, and I've heard some cool things about him. I'd have to look up his actual chart, but to me, he would be like the guy who invented the 12-step or program, or whatever that was based on. This is the kind of person who could think that up and get the whole world on board, depending, too, on their midheaven and other aspects. But they have that wisdom to get people to buy their ideas, and the imagination to see it past the present and what is, and that spiritual connection to be able to know what steps to take and how to navigate socially, because we're talking about, rising your social world. And to be with this person, it would probably be a lot easier. It's sort of like that balance of Libra and Aries where they're opposites, but this is sort of like an opposite where Aries is the beginning and Pisces is the end, but Aries is also the first house and Pisces is the 12th house. So they're almost conjunct too. They're right next to each other and their completion. So when you bring Aries and Pisces together, this is someone probably who's able to, besides maybe Aries sun, Pisces moon, Aries with a Pisces rising, they're probably able to really get things going, start them, have a lot of passion. Pisces has a lot of passion, and see things through to the end, especially outside of the home. They might start things, a lot of projects in the home, but they can really in the world have a great impact. All right, well, I want to apologize for all the choppiness and like editing in this video. It wasn't really so much editing, it's more stop and go and streaming things together. But I promise you, it's going to get smoother as we go through the 144. And if you've already started watching some of the other videos and just came to investigate this dynamic duo of Aries Sun, Aries Moon, then I welcome you to look up all of your friends and all the different combinations, all 1,278. But of course, start by looking for the Sun Moon playlist, and then you go, to look for the rising at the end of the video. But I do encourage you to watch them all the way through, because I do kind of go back and add things about different risings that I remember. And Not all the way through the whole series necessarily, but through the whole video. And let's see what else. Yeah, if you ever want to ask me any questions about your personal chart, feel free to leave a comment or hit the like button. You can subscribe if you want to follow the whole series and get the notifications. But if you ever have like a very particular question you want to get at me, I won't be answering so much in the comments, even though I love to read them and get ideas. I told you I got the series idea from reading comments in the video, and I comment often myself. But if you ever want to ask me a direct question, you can find me at rotation411.com and just chat with Madeline Marie. All right, thank you. If you managed to make it through the whole video, then please check out our website and app, Rotation 411.